All right. Happy New Year's to all. So, I'm going to do first video of 2021. And it's just going to be off of the video I made of quick bedding. So, I'm just going to make another video on supercharging it, what else you can put in. So pretty much you're going to see everything that I put in it before, but I'm going to add a couple other things. So this is just some coffee filters that I shredded up, put in. So that's all that is. So I'm going to add a little more paper. This is a little mix of newspaper, cardboard, and regular paper. And I'm just going to put in about 3 handfuls. I just shred up all my paper, newspaper and some cardboard, and just mix it in. And that's all. Then some coconut coir. It's just about 1 brick of coconut coir, which is about 1 pound. And, as we know, it expands to be a whole lot more than that 1 brick. So, it holds about 8 to 10 times its weight in moisture, so it's a good thing to use. Most of the time I let it sit for a while so it can start to get into the paper, kind of moisten the paper a little bit, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to mix it up real quick. My sleeve doesn't want to stay up, but and as you can see, the paper and the cardboard, so it's already getting moist from the coconut coir, the moisture in the coconut coir. So that's pretty much what you want to do. Just get everything mixed up in there. You don't want to let the paper start to mat down and clump up. So you just want to keep mixing it. So gonna add some more paper, but not yet. In the end, towards the end, I'm going to add a couple other things first. So one of the things that I add in is kelp. Kelp is good. It's got sugars in it. Worms love it. I mix that in there. It's an organic kelp, so it's also good. It's not going to raise the pH, or it's not going to make the bedding hot or anything like that. Alright, then you just want to mix it up real good. And then some crab meal. And crab meal is good to add in because we're using a lot of paper. And when you're using a lot of paper, you're kind of losing your chitin from the worms because there's so much paper. It's a high number of paper ratio to you know, carbon to nitrogen ratio. So there's really not much nitrogen in this, so it's not, so it's a high number of carbon. So the chitin, you lose it by being that through the casting. So because they're eating a lot of paper and the coconut core. So adding that in, there's a lot of chitin in that. Another thing I add in there that helps is rock dust. Rock dust is a nice thing to add. I'm not going to put the whole thing in right now. Just kind of mix it up. And also, it also adds some grit for the worms. So you want to mix everything up really good. You know, I was going to add some more paper into this, but I think that's enough paper. Well, actually, I still have a little more coconut core. So I am going to add a little more paper. Another handful of paper. Yeah, that should be enough. With the coconut core that I have left, I had quite a bit of coconut core left in there. It's a little wetter. And you just want to kind of mix it up. I want to mix just the top where I just put the paper so I can wet the paper, so it doesn't kind of clump up in the cardboard. So you just want to, there you go, you just want to start mixing it all up. And this is really just basic worm bedding. You know, most people, if you're making your bedding, you're not adding in the minerals. But as I always say, what you put in is what you get out. So I still have a little more of the rock dust. And the rock dust is good. It's got a lot of minerals in it. A lot of good things for the worms and for your soil. So just want to mix it up real good. So I mean, like right now it just smells real earthy with the kelp, crab meal, and the rock dust. You already elevated your bedding to being full of nutrients, something that as you put your worms in and they start making the castings, it's something that the microbes are going to live on. You're also feeding the microbes that are in there. So coffee grounds are put in, and coffee grounds, even though they're brown, they're more of a nitrogen source than they are a carbon. So it is good to add them. I probably put 2 cups in there just now. So that's a good amount to start with. So that's good. So now that elevated it because we added a little bit of nitrogen to it. Then the next thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add some, this is compost that came out of a bin that I had in the house. This is compost. I had my tumbler outside. I cleaned it, and some of the remnants that was left over, all the organic matter that wasn't broken down, I put it in a bin, and whatever worms that I got out with it, I actually brought them in with it, put it in a bin that I had in the house, and let it go. And that stuff looked good. So nice, good compost, active compost, full of already microbes and biology to kind of kickstart your castings, or your bedding, I should say. So that was good for it. So that was good. So that added another, kicked it up another notch. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some Bio Char. But this is more or less the flakes. So it's going to be real fine. It's more of the flakes than what I would call powder. When I'm crushing up the Bio Char, I actually separate the Bio Char into pretty much 3 factors in size, and that's how I sell it, in 3 different sizes, you know. So, and believe it or not, being that small of particles in here, it is a carbon base. It's probably 100 to 1 carbon base biochar. If that high. I might be a little high. But that, adding that into here, the worms are going to eat that. They're going to pass it through, and it's going to come out, and it's going to come out castings. And then there's also going to be active biochar in here. So when I sift through my castings, those small particles of biochar is going to be active into the castings. So I know I see it when I do my castings, sift through them. I can see the little particles, the little flakes that come through that didn't break down 100%. I mean, and that's what you want to do. But to kick it up even a notch higher, to really supercharge it, I'm going to add some Alpaca Manure. I shred it, 3 handfuls. And what that's going to do is really make your castings ahead of time come alive. because of all the microbes and the biology that's inside of the alpaca bino. Alpaca, I say albino, I don't know why I say that, but alpaca manure. So everything that's inside of that is just gonna help this come alive and supercharge it. And that's what's really gonna make this thing alive. And then that's pretty much it. And that's a lot of ingredients. Now, is it a necessity to put all what I put in my bedding? No. But I like to experiment with it. I like what my castings come out. I like my finished product. And my worms seem to love it. So I didn't put that much alpaca manure in here to really like I might do on a normal basis. If I was going to put in this to really put enough in there to really activate it and give them something to eat off of the first time, I would put a whole lot more in there. Probably, be honest with you, I would say the amount that I probably would put in here if I was going to make this bed something they can eat off of the alpaca, I would probably put about a pound and a half. Excuse me, almost 2 pounds of the alpaca manure. And that would also start to break down in here and also activate and feed the bacteria that's in here. And the microbes in your bedding. But I didn't put that much in. I put about, like I said, 3 handfuls. That's just enough to also help feed the bacteria and the microbes and the biology that's in it. It's not enough. I didn't do it for feeding the worms that. So just enough to kind of give the microbes something to eat on. But that's all I do. Everybody does it different. Everything that I put in there doesn't have to be put in there, but like I always say, what you put in is what you get out. So it works for me. I don't mind doing it. I like the end result. So it's not a biggie for me. But if that's what you want to do, give it a try. Add in different things that are also going to help. It's just like if you're putting it out in your garden, you want your garden bed to be fertilized real good. You're going to add different minerals and different soils to it. You're going to add garden soil. You're going to add compost. You're going to add other minerals. You're going to add lime to it. You're going to add different minerals to it. So that's how I feel about this. That's what this is going to be used for, putting in the garden, putting in pots, feeding your plants, sprinkling it around your established bushes or rose bushes or anything like that. So it's going to have quite a bit of different biology already in it from everything that I put in it. So it works for me. I appreciate you spending the time, taking a look at the video and seeing what I do as far as really supercharging the castings after they're harvested. But this is the bedding. This is supercharged. This is NEG supercharged bedding for my worms. So that's what I do. All right, I appreciate you watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks.